Hello and welcome to my Game of Thrones Winter is Coming Advanced Rally Technique video. Today's video will be an advanced look at rally focusing on when you lead the rally and how to maximize results while minimizing troop losses. You should already be experienced in participating in rallies and some proper techniques for rallying before you try to implement this video. Before you even start looking for a rally, make sure you have already adjusted your talents, which I'll show you, are in your city. Go to your Lord. You should already know all this, but adjust your talents so that they're all set on your attack side in the proper places for successfully completing a rally or any other attack on a city. You also want to make sure your Lord gear is properly adjusted. As you can see, mine is not, so I will go in and adjust. You want combat gear on for doing a rally. Sorry for this. I just wanted to demonstrate that you need to make sure your gear is set appropriately. You also want to make sure your dragon passive skills are set to ones that affect your rally. As you can see, any legendary set at level 5 or any epic set at 5 will automatically affect your rally as well and will stack. Okay, but ones that are not at that level do not stack until they get down here. Same thing. But all epic or legendaries are what you need to have to affect a rally. And then lastly, you want to make sure your formations are set correctly for the one you're going to run. I currently have mine set to lead with cavalry, then spears, infantry, and then bowmen. The standard sets infantry first, then cavalry, then here. You can switch them up once you've trained inside your research in the Maester Tower under formations, and you have come to this section here for formations. You can unlock further formations further down the line, and under your advanced military tree there's more troop formations here. So these are important factors whenever you're going to run a rally. I might be back to adjust this depending on the camp we select. Now we will go select the proper camp, because camp selection is extremely important when doing a rally. You want to make sure you select a camp of the right tier, hit search. Once you find one, it's important that you pay attention to the power level of the camp, what level chest everyone in the rally will win, the fortification types and the amounts present, the troop types and the amount present. So once you find one, scout it. Always scout first. It's entirely too chaotic if you don't. You need to have proper information before you run one if you're trying to maximize your results. So again, we'll pay attention to what they're going to get for winning. Everyone gets this chest. You pay attention to the fortifications because they do apply. See, fortifications are a small but important part in the victory or losses of a rally, but should be heeded to minimize troop losses. You need to be familiar with what type of fortification gains benefits and negatives to each troop type. You can find that information inside your wall, inside your city. So if a type of fortification is missing, but the troop type is useful, maximize that troop type. Troop type and amount, right here. Total amounts here, individual amounts are here. This is important. It's actually the most important factor in a rally. They will play the biggest part in your success or failure when running a rally. Managing the proper balance is the key, not just using the maximum amount of troops. The total troop size is important. Most rallies can be won with half the number of total troops if you're using the highest tier troop type in that rally. So as you can see here, you've got tier 2 spearmen and cavalry and tier 3 spearmen and cavalry. So if you have those two tiers, you want to make sure you're using all tier 3 in your rally. The game mechanics target the weaker tier troops first, so they die the fastest, and the morale mechanic of the game dictates that the fight ends as soon as the morale, not health, of the troops drops to 0%. When this happens, the remaining troops run away. Morale is affected by troops dying, so the more troops that die, the faster you lose the fight. This is why it's important to make sure that you manage troops that are allowed to join your rally. Once we start the rally, I'll show you how to do this. So I'll choose this rally. It's a good one to run, but because they have spearmen and cavalry, I'll take another look at my formations. And I'll probably lead with spearmen instead of cavalry. So now we've discussed the number of troop types which appear, but we need to send this information to the alliance so that they can get the corresponding troops to counter troops present in the rally. So now, if all 4 troop types are present, a lot of people feel that that's the worst and hardest one to win. But in all honesty, it allows you to include all 4 troop types that you have in the rally, which allows you to deal more damage and fill up your ranks in the rally faster because more troops are participating. Again, it's all a balancing act. So once you've selected the rally you wish to lead, you need to post the scout report to your alliance like I was saying. So you click here to do so. Now this determines the appropriate troops that they can send to your rally. But then I usually follow that up by going in and giving a comment on exactly what I want them to send to the rally. In this case, we know that they are sending cavalry and spears against us. So I want spearmen, bowmen. I set to primary and secondary cavalry. This allows me to tell people to fill up their spearmen and bowmen first and then select their cavalry last so that we get the most of the things that are going to do the most damage first. And always make sure you say that you want what tier exactly. And I always add a no comment for what troop type we're not sending. Lets everyone know exactly what to do and not to do, and this eliminates mistakes before they happen. At this time, you choose your rally and select the dragons and commanders. I always set to 10 minutes, gives people time to do the things they need to do to select and be inside. Now you can hit the automatic button here and do the commanders. Now, commander selection is a big factor in rally success. If you select a commander that leads troop types that are not being used for the rally, the commander sits out of the fight and none of his benefits will take effect. Now, you also probably have many commanders of the similar troop types that overlap. Select the commanders that apply the largest bonus versus the troop types you're going against. So, in this case, you can see I have 2 cavalry guys, 1 infantry, and we're not even going to be sending infantry, so why would I select an infantry? And I have 2 archers. I'm actually going to wipe out most of those and select different ones based on their buffs here to the side. See, the commander army buffs found over here on the right side here. You should play with your commanders by selecting them and view what buffs are, and then swap out other commanders to figure out the best combination for the fight. Now, if you have total army buffs like you saw on Arya, she has a total army buff. So she increases the defense of infantry, but she also has a total attack increase of 6%. So if you're going to put 3 troop types or more, then this is the best thing to use as a total army buff. But if you're only going to be selecting 2 troop types or less, then you'll do better to stick with the commanders of single troop bonus types because they'll do a bigger setup. For example, Rob here has cavalry health and cavalry defense, but they're significantly higher percentage. They'll go up to 30% once he's legendary. So you want to keep that. But as you can see, on Arya, the infantry defense is all the way up at 12%, but a total is half of that at 6%. And that ratio maintains truth. A single army type will always buff twice as strong as a total army type. So it only helps if you have 3 or more troop types to use a total attack. So I will select Melisandre to add her 30% attack to arm, excuse me, to bowman and defense bowman at 30%. I'll also select, since we're going to send spearman, Garel, and I've got all 3 troop types now in here. As you can see, bowman, spearman, and cavalry. But I am using the total buff because if we're going to be using 3 different types, then I'm going to keep that one in there. Now, Chris is great if I have infantry going, but since I don't, it's not going to help much. So I will select somebody who's going to give me more bowman attack because you want that the highest. So now you can see my bowman attack's at 137%, and you can see how it's broke down from my commander bonuses, my dragon bonus, researches, buffs, and total troops. The other thing about the commanders you select that you need to pay attention to is the army size bonus. We'll be carrying an extra 47,000 troops from my army into this fight because of the commanders I have selected. So these are important factors when choosing your commanders. Now that I've done that, I always clear the selection of troops that are going to be going and then select, again, the primary 2 that I wanted. Make sure I have the most of those, and then the secondary one last. As you can see, I'm only going to be sending a few. Now that I have set the rally going, I'll let everybody know to hop on in. I tend to retype in what we're going to select significantly because you want to keep it on the screen so people can always see it as the screen scrolls by. Now this buff here, this little circle, is your quick reference to your rally to see who has joined. You can click the view button and you can see exactly what troops they're bringing, what their dragon has to offer. The only problem is you can only see what their passive buff skills on the dragon, if they affected the rally or not, after the fight in the review. I'll go over that then, after we evaluate the rally. You can also click here and see what the gear they're wearing. For example, you can see that Rainbow Dashi is set up for researching currently with the gear he's got, not his attack buffs. But fortunately for us, that won't affect anything because mine are the ones that are leading the rally. Therefore, my lord is the only one whose gear is going to affect the rally. You can see how long it's going to take for them to arrive. So if they are set too far out, you want to make sure that you boot them out of the rally so that they don't hold up the rally. Some people will try to join a rally from 30, 40 minutes away, and that just holds up the rally for everybody. So you can see the total number of troops he sent, the exact tier, and the number he's breaking down to send. The dragon numbers here, his location, etc. So this is the entire quick reference menu. Then if you click this button here, it won't show him. It'll get rid of that circle and not show it. But since there's another one, it's there. Go and view real quick whose this is. Okay, so Bout is sending in 5 minutes 120,000 troops. They are all the correct tier. They are exactly what I've asked for. And he's got a dragon. However, I can tell you that he didn't follow my primary secondary instructions because he's sending more cavalry than spearmen. That may be because he only has this many, but it could also be that he didn't follow instructions. But he has the right selection types except for the infantry. See, these infantry are here, they're going to get slaughtered. So I'll go let Bout know that he needs to adjust this. And of course, you make mistakes like sending things to the wrong channel. As you can see, I've got 4 bubbles here now. So we'll go up here, we'll view, that's Bout again. So I'll click that so I don't see him again. Click this one. You can see he sent tier 2s all over the place. So Hankio. I'm going to go ahead and skip out of the fast select menu and go into the total management menu. This is where you can manage who's in your getting kicked out or who's in it. Now we saw that Hankio needs to send the proper ones. And from this screen you can also verify by clicking these buttons what they sent. So in most cases I just use this window all the time, but I wanted to show you both for the video. You can also check the whole rally at once by clicking this button here, and it shows you exactly everything you've got in the rally, including dragons and your troop types and tiers, etc. It just gives you a quick summary of everything. This is the main key I use to check and see if anybody has sent something wrong. If I find something wrong here, that's when I go looking for the individual who has it. As you can see, other people in the alliance, because we have discussed this and researched this extensively, that we're all aware that you don't want those T2s in there. I'm doing this basically just to get rid of that bubble and to verify the people who have joined in quickly. That's what the bubble's for, is for quick verification and doing, so that we can, now that, oh, somebody joined it last second. Okay, everything looks good on these people. So as soon as I click that one, oh, we had another one. Okay, everything looks good. Okay, now you can see there's no bubble. It's gone because we've verified all of them and clicked that little do not show anymore section. But again, this is mainly where I manage it from, so I can see everybody's got the right tier. These 41,000 infantry won't matter that much. I'm just a little concerned he might lose them. That's why I asked. If he doesn't respond or anything else, I'll just leave him there. And as you can see, I'm sitting at 1.59 million troops for this rally, so we will blow this rally away. Let's see who this newcomer is. Ah, it's our good friend, just a bunch of bows. You'll also find a lot of people send only bows, and that's mainly because people, when you send your bows, they are the least likely to get damaged in a rally. So that's why. Now, again, managing your participation is crucial to the success and minimization of troop loss during a rally. You'll need to pay attention during the entire process to make sure no one adds troops that are detrimental to the effort. In this case, there's nothing that's detrimental. Those T2s would have been detrimental to this effort because of the morale effect, like we discussed before. So you want those troops out of your rally so that they don't end your rally before you can win it. Sorry about that. I usually don't do that in a video, but I'm just so click used to in this game. You just click so much all the time. Alright, you can add an army bonus, which I usually do. I'll toss in a total attack or a total defense. If you want to minimize your troop loss, go with a total defense buff. As you can see, I don't have as many because I use them all the time. But minimizing by using your total defense buffs will allow you to take the least amount of damage because your defense of the entire army is increased by 20%. Alright, we're going to be launching in just 13 seconds. Alright, as you saw the notice come up, Krees just arrived at my city. And I need to double check formation like I said before. See, we're sending cavalry first. Now cavalry being the fastest unit, it almost always hits first dependent no matter where you put it in position. But the faster they get there, the more damage they do immediately. But since they're spears and cavalry in their army, their cavalry would hit, our cavalry would hit, then spears and spears. So I'm going to switch up and send spears first so that their fast-moving cavalry will hit on our spears before we do. And our spears and our cavalry will come next and pass those infantry. So knowing your speeds of each unit, which you can find inside your barracks, under your troops types here, if you click on them, you can see that the speed is 630 on your cavalry, where infantry is 420, spearmen 420, and then bowmen are the slowest at 315. So while bowmen do a lot of damage and they don't really take any damage because they stay in the back formation in all formations, they do take the longest to get into position, so they do less damage over the total army of the fight versus cavalry, who get there real fast, so their damage starts applying sooner. They're in the fight longer usually. So you want to work on getting your defense up, because as you can see, defense is one of their weakest stats. So you want to work on getting that defense up so that while they're in the fight the longest, you don't lose the most of them. Infantry have the highest defense at 43, as you can see. So them usually being in the base formation is because they have the highest defense and high health, but their attack is low. So infantry, you want to work on buffing the attack, but I'll go over all of that in another video on managing your troops. So we're 2 minutes and 22 seconds for rally and deploy. All troops have rallied to me, so that means we're on the march to the rally. So if I go outside and look, I can see that we're marching. I usually use this time if I'm going to be running another rally to search for the next rally. Alright, by knowing that this is 65 million power, I know it's got royals in it. I'll scout it just to show you. Anything over about 55 million power is always going to have T4 royals in it. So until you can do those, there's no sense even scouting anything over 55 million power. But you can see it's a very nice chest. But you can also see they've got Royal Infantry, Royal Cavalry, Royal Spearmen, and Royal Bowmen at 100,000, 120,000, 110, and 110,000 quantities. So while they've got 2.4 million troops, only about 20% of it is Royal, but it's still going to annihilate a lot of T3 troops. And since we don't have T4 yet, doing these is difficult, and you will lose troops significantly. So I would say that that's not a good one for maximizing success and minimizing troop loss. So I would look for another one. 44 million. That's probably an easy to do right now. With the participation I'm getting right now, we could probably do that last one successfully without too much loss, and I might even try it. But for the purposes of this video, I want to just stick to how you maximize your success while minimizing losses. Now, again, this is a good one to view because you can see it's a nice chest. Only one fortification, oil barrels, and then only infantry, cavalry, and bowmen. So, alright, we have a completed rally success, so go check out your report. We minimized with only 1,280 losses. We killed 854,000 troops. And this is an exact representation of how you maximize and minimize those numbers. Now if we go down here, we lost 1,280, all cavalry, as you can see. So even those tier 2 cavalry and spearmen that they had, we didn't have any, so we didn't lose any. Everything we had was tier 3, so what we lost was cavalry. If we had brought those tier 2s that they had brought, we'd have lost a lot more troops, and they'd all have been tier 2s. And then we still would have lost these cavalry because of their speed. They would have arrived at the fight even before the tier 2s, and therefore still lost a good amount of those. You might have lost a little less of these but because the damage was being dealt to the tier 2s, but it does not maximize the victory, and the morale mechanic would cost you more than the damage they do. Therefore, it's not worth having them in there. And this is where you can see, as I said, that the dragons you bring, these are the passive skills that will have affected in that battle. As you can see, only the ones that I had, the 5% epic bowman attack and 10% legendary cavalry defense, are the only ones there. This 10% helped us to avoid less cavalry death, so that's a great thing. And then you can see here each person's individual troops that they sent, how much happened to them. This stuff is very valuable in evaluating the report. If you've seen our previous videos, you know the breakdown of this report as well. You can see that this person eliminated this many troops exactly, all the way down. Then at the bottom you'll see the enemy info. This is the fortifications and the damage we did there. This is the enemy troops. And this is how you evaluate this report in the data aspect. There's also the graphic representation here. You can see this is what the blue line is, what we sent, and ours it did. The red is the enemy, and the fortifications are here in exactly their life. Now, if you come out of this menu, something a lot of people overlook in evaluating the rally is playing the video. The video gives you a lot of good information. For example, this is how we discovered that commanders who are not of the type selected actually sit out of the fight. When it first loads, you'll see the commanders who are participating in the front of the armies. But if you have commanders who aren't participating, they'll be at the back, and that's where they stay. They just don't even participate. At the very first scene, when you see them run in, they won't even join. Here, they'll stay in the back. They won't be up front. You'll see them standing off the back of your screen over in this area doing nothing. As you can see, we broached the walls and the fortifications quickly, so they didn't play a big factor. You can see they just went through our troops as all our cavalry dropped here. You can see the morale factor is killing them right now. Even though they've got troops alive, their morale is dropping while ours is staying high. That's why we won the fight. All right, now there's a checklist that I go through at each rally, and that is to make sure only the correct tier troop types are sent, the correct troop type is sent, that you have at minimum half the camp's total troops, and that all of the troops you have are the highest tier available, that your Lord gear is of attack type, that you have access to formations and you set your formations to the correct counter type. Now we understand everybody doesn't have access to formations yet, but as you gain them, it is something you want to include on your checklist. You want to make sure that your talents are set for attacking. You want to make sure that you set your rally time to 10 minutes to give people enough time to change your dragon skills, Lord gear, or heal any other troops before joining the rally. And that the passive skills on their dragon are set to the battle types that are preferable to affect the rally. That's all for this video. I hope you found the information to be beneficial and will use it to add value to your gaming experience. My in-game name is Wildfire, and you can find me on server K72. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.